Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nayab and today the topic of our discussion is sentence structure. Sentence structure means the way a sentence is arranged grammatically. For example, where the noun and the verb would fall in individual sentences. हमारे पास ग्रामेटिकल अरेंजमेंट ऑफ सेंटेंस क्या होगी, इसको हम सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर कहते हैं. मीनिंग कि हमारे पास हमारे सेंटेंस में हम नाउन को, वर्ब को, ऑब्जेक्ट को, इन सब चीज़ों को किस तरह से अरेंज करेंगे, इसको सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर कहते हैं. देयर आर 4 टाइप्स ऑफ सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर. द फर्स्ट वन इज़ सिंपल सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर, द सेकेंड वन इज़ कंपाउंड सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर, द थर्ड वन इज़ कॉम्प्लेक्स सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर एंड द फोर्थ वन इज़ कंपाउंड कॉम्प्लेक्स सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर. Starting with the first one, simple sentence structure. A simple sentence consists of one independent clause. A clause is a collection or a group of words. It contains a subject and a verb, but it might or might not convey a complete thought. There are 2 types of clauses. हमारे पास एक इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज होता है और एक डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज होता है. एन इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज कंटेन अ सब्जेक्ट एंड अ वर्ब एंड एक्सप्रेसेस अ कंप्लीट थॉट, बट इन अ डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज हैव अ सब्जेक्ट एंड अ वर्ब बट इट डज नॉट कन्वे अ कंप्लीट थॉट. सो अ सिंपल सेंटेंस में हम कह सकते हैं कि इट इज़ एन इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई लाइक कॉफ़ी, मैरी लाइक्स टी, द अर्थ गोज राउंड द सन, मैरी डिड नॉट गो टू द पार्टी. These are all examples of simple sentence. इसमें हमारे पास एक noun है, I, like is verb and coffee is an object. So you can see there is a single noun and a single predicate. हमारे पास sentence में एक noun है और एक ही predicate है या एक ही verb हम कह सकते हैं. Mary likes tea, it is the same as I like coffee. The earth goes round the sun. This is a simple sentence as well. And Mary did not go to the party. It is also a simple sentence. The second one is compound sentence structure. A compound sentence is 2 or more independent clauses joined by a conjunction or semicolon. Each of these clauses could form a sentence alone. हमारे पास compound sentence में हम कहते हैं कि 2 or more independent clauses होते हैं. और या हम ऐसे भी कह सकते हैं कि 2 or more simple sentences होते हैं, but they are combined by a junction or a semicolon. For example, I like coffee and Mary likes tea. इसमें I like coffee ये भी हमारे पास एक simple sentence है and Mary likes tea ये भी हमारे पास एक single sentence है. Simple हमारे पास हम कहते हैं independent clause है, but it is combined by a conjunction and हमारे पास बीच में कंजंक्शन हो गया और जब इन दोनों को मिला लिया सो वी हैड अ कंपाउंड सेंटेंस. इन द सेकेंड एग्जाम्पल वी कैन सी मैरी वेंट टू वर्क बट जॉन वेंट टू द पार्टी. सो यू कैन सी मैरी वेंट टू वर्क, इट इज़ अ सिंपल सेंटेंस. हमें समझ आती है कि मैरी वेंट टू वर्क, it expresses a complete thought, and John went to the party, it also expresses a complete thought, and these both sentences are combined by the word but, which is a conjunction, and it made a compound sentence structure. The third one is our car broke down, we came last. We can say that you can combine 2 simple sentences with either a conjunction or a semicolon. हम अगर या तो बीच में कंजंक्शन लगाएंगे और या सेमीकोलन लगाएंगे. सो ईदर हम कंजंक्शन लगाएंगे या सेमीकोलन लगाएंगे, बट नॉट बोथ एट द सेम टाइम. दोनों हम नहीं लगा सकते, या कंजंक्शन लगाएंगे या सेमीकोलन लगाएंगे टू कंबाइन 2 सिंपल सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर टू फॉर्म अ कंपाउंड सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर. Now there are 7 coordinating conjunctions. हमारे पास 7 coordinating conjunctions है and, but, or, nor, for, yet and so. These are the 7 coordinating conjunctions which are used to join 2 simple sentence structures to form a compound sentence structure. Now there are some other examples. She completed her literature review and she created her reference list. He organized his sources by theme and he updated his reference list. They studied APA rules for many hours, but they realized there was still much to learn. As you can see how these coordinating conjunctions are used to combine two simple sentences to make a compound sentence structure. Now coming towards the third one, complex sentence structure. A complex sentence consists of an independent clause plus a dependent clause. हमारे पास सिंपल सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर में एक इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज होता है. कंपाउंड सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर में हमारे पास दो या दो से ज़्यादा इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉजेज होते हैं कंबाइंड विद अ कंजंक्शन और अ सेमीकोलन. बट कॉम्प्लेक्स सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर में हमारे पास एक इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज होता है प्लस हमारे पास dependent clause होता है. Now a dependent clause start with a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun and contains a subject and a verb but does not express a complete thought. हमारे पास इससे complete thought express नहीं होता. Dependent clause हमारे पास complete thought express नहीं करता. It must be combined with an independent clause to convey a complete thought. Now if a sentence begins with a dependent clause, note the comma after this clause. If, on the other hand, the sentence begins with an independent clause, there is no comma separating the two clauses. अब हम कॉम्प्लेक्स सेंटेंस को दो तरह से अरेंज कर सकते हैं. या तो स्टार्ट हमारे पास इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज से होगा या स्टार्ट में हमारे पास डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज होगा एंड फिर उसके बाद हमारे पास इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज आएगा. तो अगर हमारे पास सेंटेंस के स्टार्ट में डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज है, अगर सेंटेंस हमारे पास डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज से स्टार्ट होगा तो उसमें हमारे पास कॉमा आएगा क्लॉज के बाद. बट अगर हमारे पास सेंटेंस इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज से स्टार्ट होगा सो देयर वुड बी नो कॉमा बिटवीन द टू सेंटेंसेस. Now let's see some examples. We missed our plane because we were late. As you can see, our sentence started with an independent clause. We missed our plane. It has a subject and a verb, and it conveys a complete thought. Because we were late, and the second one is because we were late. So because we were late, it has a subject and a verb, but it does not convey a complete thought. हमारे पास ये स्टार्ट जो है तो हमारे पास सबऑर्डिनेटिंग कंजंक्शन से हुआ है. दैट्स वाई it is a dependent clause. And there is no comma between the two clauses. Our dog barks when she hears a noise. हमारे पास इसका भी स्टार्ट हमारे पास इंडिपेंडेंट क्लॉज से हुआ है. Our dog barks. It has a subject and a verb, and it conveys a complete thought. When she hears a noise, you have a subject in this sentence, you have a verb in this sentence, but it does not convey a complete thought because it is started with a relative pronoun. The third one is, although she completed her literature review, she still needed to work on her methods section. अब इस sentence में हमारे पास start हमने डिपेंडेंट क्लॉज से लिया है. although she completed her literature review. although is a subordinating conjunction, so it is a dependent clause. So there would be a comma between the dependent and the independent clause. Here are some common subordinating conjunctions. These are the examples of subordinating conjunctions that you might come across with: after, although, as, because. Here are some common subordinating conjunctions that you might come across while reading complex sentence structures: after, although, as, because, before, how, if, once, since, then, that, though, till, until, when, where, whether, and while. And here are the 5 basic relative pronouns. Those are that, which, who, whom, and whose. Now coming towards the examples. So he left in a hurry after he got a phone call. He left in a hurry. It is an independent clause. After he got a phone call, it is a dependent clause as it is starting with a subordinating conjunction after. Do you know the man who is talking to Mary? Do you know the man? It is an independent clause, and who is talking to Mary is a dependent clause. Now the third one is because he organized his sources by theme. Because he organized his sources, as this sentence is starting with a subordinating conjunction because, so it is a dependent clause. It was easier for his readers to follow. It is an independent clause as you can grab the full meaning of the sentence. In the first two sentences, the sentence starts with an independent clause, so there is no comma between the two clauses. But in the last sentence, the sentence started with a dependent clause, so there would be comma between the dependent and independent clause. Now coming toward the fourth type, compound complex sentence structure. A compound complex sentence consists of at least two independent clauses. It would have two or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clause. For example, John didn't come. It is an independent clause. Because he was ill, it is a dependent clause. So Mary was not happy. Mary was not happy is again an independent clause, and so is a coordinating conjunction. So there are two independent clauses in this sentence, which are John didn't come and Mary was not happy. These two are independent clauses, and there is because he was ill, it is a dependent clause. He left in a hurry after he got a phone call. He left in a hurry, it is an independent clause, and after he got a phone call, it is again a dependent clause. But he came back 5 minutes later. He came back 5 minutes later is again an independent clause, and but is a coordinating conjunction. She completed her literature review, but she still needs to work on her methods section, even though she finished her methods course last semester. Although he organized his sources by theme, he decided to arrange them chronologically, and he carefully followed the meal plan for organization. With pizza and soda at hand, they studied APA rules for many hours, and they decided that writing in APA made sense because it was clear, concise, and objective. These are some other examples of compound complex structures. They all contain at least two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses in these sentences. This is a table of the type of sentence structure. So here in the first section we have types of sentence structure, and there are then parts. So the first one is simple. There would be one independent clause, there would be no dependent clause, and there would sometimes be a use of conjunction. For example, I like candies and cupcakes. So it is a simple sentence because it has one independent clause, but there is a use of conjunction and in it. But the word and is used just to combine the objects in the end. For example, I like candy and cupcakes. So candy and cupcakes are just objects combined by a conjunction. There aren't two sentences or two clauses in it. The second one is compound sentence. So compound sentence would have two or more independent clauses. There would be no dependent clause, and there would always be a use of conjunction. You can't say always be a use of conjunction if you are not combining the two sentences with a semicolon, but if you are combining it with a semicolon, you won't use a conjunction in it. Complex structure would have one or more independent clause and one or more dependent clauses, and there would usually be use of conjunction to combine the independent and the dependent clauses. And in the last we have compound complex structure, which would have at least two or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses, and there would always be the use of conjunction in it. It was all about the types of sentence structure, and you will have the types of MCQs in it. You might be asked how many types of sentences are there, or what you might be asked what simple sentence structure is, or what a complex sentence structure is, or what is a dependent clause, what is an independent clause, how are they combined, how many methods are there to combine compound sentence structures or complex sentence structures. This was all about the types of sentence structure. See you in the next lecture, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.